Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. NPR reports that President Trump concluded his two-day visit to China, describing it as incredible. Yet, it was characterized more by pageantry than by concrete agreements. Trump highlighted potential business deals for American companies and farmers, including a commitment for 200 Boeing jets and soybeans. Though China has yet to confirm these purchases, Chinese leader Xi Jinping, in turn, emphasized a new era of stability for U.S.-China relations. Key discussions included China raising Taiwan as a red line, with Xi warning that mishandling it could jeopardize relations. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stated U.S. policy on Taiwan remained unchanged, and Trump declined to comment on defending the island. Both leaders also discussed the Iran war, agreeing on the need to end it and prevent nuclear weapons. Throughout the visit, Trump lauded Xi, describing him as being from central casting, a reflection of Trump's personal relationship-driven diplomacy, which contrasts with China's meticulously planned approach. The extensive ceremonial events, including a visit to Zhongnanhai Garden, were seen as a way for China to indulge Trump and assert its growing power. The Russia-Ukraine war has entered its fifth year, and Ukrainian officials and military officers claimed this week that their forces have achieved record-breaking results in recent months, with the conflict beginning to turn in Ukraine's favor. According to Lentigrishin.by Par, ECNN cited Ukrainian officers on the front lines reporting signs of fatigue among Russian troops. Ukraine's Defense Minister Fedorov announced on Tuesday that 35,000 Russian soldiers were eliminated in March and April, which he described as record-breaking casualties, indicating Ukrainian forces are depleting Russian strength. Analysis from the Institute for the Study of War shows that Ukraine recaptured more territory last month than Russia occupied, marking Moscow's first net territorial loss since August 2024. This shift is largely attributed to Ukraine's drone advantage, particularly enhanced medium-range strikes targeting Russian logistics. Despite this, fierce fighting continues, with Russia launching large-scale missile and drone attacks on Kyiv, killing at least 24, while Ukraine targeted Russia's Ryazan with drones, resulting in 4 deaths. Both sides, however, released 205 prisoners of war on Friday, following a 3-day ceasefire brokered by former U.S. President Trump. Finnish President Alexander Stubb stated that the United States requires NATO to address the threat posed by Russia's nuclear arsenal in Europe, asserting that the cost of Washington withdrawing from the alliance would be excessively high. Speaking at a business forum in Vilnius, Lithuania on Friday, President Stubb emphasized that NATO membership, including Nordic countries, allows the U.S. to confront Russia's nuclear weapons, particularly those deployed on the Kola Peninsula and in Murmansk, just 100 kilometers from the Finnish border, which are aimed at major U.S. cities like New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. He dismissed suggestions of a U.S. withdrawal, noting that despite U.S. President Trump's past criticisms and plans to reduce troops in Germany and across Europe, the rhetoric differs from reality, and the U.S. needs Europe. Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda echoed this sentiment at the same forum, calling NATO the best military alliance in the world, possibly since the 14th century, and underscoring the necessity of preserving the organization, as reported by Leen He-Zot-Ba. NBC News reports that the United Arab Emirates is accelerating the construction of a new oil pipeline to significantly expand its capacity to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. The government's Abu Dhabi media office announced that the Abu Dhabi Crown Prince has directed the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, to fast-track the West-East Pipeline project, with operations expected to begin in 2027. This new pipeline aims to double the UAE's export capacity through Fujairah. The move is highly strategic, especially after the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman, was effectively shuttered by Iran in response to a U.S.-Israeli air and naval campaign. This closure severely disrupted about a fifth of global oil supplies, leading to surging energy prices, fuel rationing, and fears of an economic downturn. The UAE and Saudi Arabia are currently the only Gulf producers with pipelines that can export crude outside the Strait of Hormuz, while other key producers like Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, and Bahrain remain heavily dependent on the strait for their shipments. Al Jazeera reports a deadly attack on a security compound in northwest Pakistan's Baghor district, claiming the lives of 8 or 9 Pakistani paramilitary officers and wounding about 35. The Afghan-based Pakistan Taliban, TT, claimed responsibility for the assault, which involved ramming an explosives-laden vehicle into the camp's gate before a gun battle. At least 10 attackers were killed. This incident is the latest in a series of violent events in the border region that have killed over 20 people in recent days, jeopardizing a fragile ceasefire between Islamabad and Kabul. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring armed groups like the TTP, an accusation Kabul denies. Tensions between the two nations escalated into open war in February 2026, and despite a China-brokered agreement in April to avoid escalation, no formal ceasefire has been established. The ongoing conflict has resulted in over 370 Afghan civilian deaths and nearly 400 injuries in the first 3 months of 2026, according to the United Nations. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.